Forget the movie version of desert stealth. North Africa wasn't a friendly backdrop, it was a bright, flat problem that punished mistakes. Glare turned men into silhouettes. Wind erased tracks and also exposed them. Mirage bent distance into lies. And doctrine, written for greener places, didn't cover what to do when every movement flashed like a signal mirror. So commandos and attached snipers adapted. Not with magic gadgets, with field-expedient tools and hard-earned technique. These are the 7 hidden commando sniper tools that transformed North Africa raids. Number 7. Adapted camouflage netting. Desert glare didn't need bullets to give you away. British camouflage doctrine already had netting in the system, meant to break up vehicles and positions from aerial observation. In North Africa, that meant netting tied down tight, garnished to match local tones, and positioned to kill straight lines that caught the eye. The goal wasn't invisibility, it was delay. In desert light, the standard green-brown look could be worse than nothing. Men adapted what they had. Netting got dirtied with sand and dust, and in some cases re-garnished with strips of cloth, sacking, or local scrub to match the pale ground and the darker wadis. It wasn't just for trucks. A 2-man team could throw a net over a shallow scrape, stretch it on bayonets or poles, and create a patch of broken shadow that didn't read as human at distance. When it worked, it bought minutes, enough to watch a track, call a movement, or let a patrol pass. When it failed, the net became a sail in the wind, or a dark blot against light sand, and that contrast drew attention faster than bare earth ever did. Number 6. Scrub pattern smocks and face veils. The clothing meant to hide you could also make you overconfident. Uniform regulations cared about recognition and supply. In theory you wore issued kit, kept it serviceable, and relied on drills, distance, shadow, movement discipline. But in open desert, the outline of a head and shoulders was often the real enemy, especially when you needed to crawl, observe, and not get fixed by a quick glance. So commandos and raiders leaned into purpose-made and improvised concealment. Lightweight smocks in muted, dusty tones, and face veils to break up the human shape of eyes, nose, and skin. The point wasn't fashion, it was contrast control. Skin reflected, webbing caught highlights, even a canteen cup could flash. Veils and smocks dulled that, and gave a sniper or scout a chance to stay still without the face becoming the focal point. In some cases it worked exactly as intended. The viewer's eyes slid off the shape and onto the terrain. In other cases, the extra layer trapped heat and sweat, and a man shifted to breathe or wipe his eyes. In the desert, that small movement was sometimes the only thing the enemy needed. Number 5. Scoped Enfield rifles. Precision was easy. Keeping the scope alive wasn't. British sniping doctrine already centered on the number 4T rifle with a telescopic sight, a regulated, inspected pairing, not a casual field add-on. The idea was repeatability. A known rifle, a known scope, a known zero. And the shooter was expected to confirm that zero and protect the glass. North Africa made that protection a daily fight. Dust wasn't a nuisance, it was a mechanical problem. Men carried scoped Enfields in cloth covers or improvised wraps to keep grit out of turrets and mounts, then unwrapped only when it mattered. Heat shimmer could make long range feel like guesswork, so snipers favored steady holds and careful shot selection over dramatic distances. And they learned fast that metal left in the sun punished you. A hot rifle was hard to handle quietly and could shift comfort, not accuracy, at the worst moment. Used well, a scoped Enfield let a small team pick off a sentry, stop a signaler, or force heads down long enough for a raid to close. Used badly, a knocked scope or drifting zero turned a first shot into a miss, and in a quiet desert, a miss could start the whole alarm. Number 4. Improvised hides and sandbag concealment. You didn't need a fortress. You needed a shape that didn't look alive. Field manuals loved tidy positions, measured arcs, proper revetments, sandbags stacked with intention. In raids and short-duration observation, you rarely had time for that. The expectation was still clear: concealment, a stable firing position, and enough cover to survive the first few seconds if spotted. So men built the unseen out of whatever the desert offered. Shallow scrapes, dug fast with entrenching tools or even helmets, lowered the bodyline. Burlap sacks and sandbags did double duty, not just ballistic protection, but texture. A firing slit cut too clean looked artificial. Rough sacking, dusted over, broke that edge. Some hides were nothing more than a depression with a cloth or net stretched low to cast a false shadow. When it worked, an observation pair could sit still through hours of mirage and patrol movement, then take one deliberate shot and disappear before the response organized. When it went wrong, the sand itself betrayed them. A collapse, a fresh spoil pile, or a poorly matched patch of darker fabric that read like a target marker. One bad hide didn't just get you hit. It compromised the whole approach route. Before we move on, if you had to cross open sand with only one advantage, would you choose better camouflage on your body, or better concealment in your firing position? Tell us your pick below. And if you want more history like this, subscribe. The next tools get quieter, stranger, and riskier. Number 3. Suppressed firing solutions. The quiet shot was never truly quiet. Officially, a sniper's job wasn't to be silent. It was to be correct. Doctrine emphasized concealment, fire discipline, and a first-round hit, not Hollywood suppressors. If special units used sound reduction devices, they tended to be controlled items, issued in small numbers, and treated as fragile. But raids created a different problem: the shot that couldn't start a chain reaction. In North Africa, teams experimented with what they could actually carry. Purpose-built suppressors existed in limited circles, but men also leaned on suppressed solutions that were really a bundle of choices: subsonic feeling loads where available, careful backstops, firing from within a hide, timing shots with gusts, engines, or distant gunfire. Some even wrapped metal parts to kill tiny clicks that carried farther than you'd expect on cold night air. When it worked, a sentry dropped and the next man kept walking, confused by direction and distance. When it failed, the suppressor changed point of impact, or the reduced report still drew attention because the real giveaway wasn't volume. It was pattern. One unnatural crack in a quiet place could pull eyes like a magnet. Number 2. Dummy positions and decoys. You couldn't outshoot every response, so you redirected it. Training stressed camouflage and correct sighting. Don't present an obvious position, don't skyline yourself, don't leave equipment where it advertises a hide. In theory, a false position was a luxury. In practice, deception was part of fieldcraft, but rarely formalized for small raiding parties. In North Africa, decoys became a way to buy time with almost no ammunition. A dummy scrape with a bit of net, a discarded tin or bottle to catch attention, a spare helmet said just wrong, anything that looked like a human choice. Some teams built a too neat firing slit a short distance away, then watched it. Others dragged a strip of sacking to fake a crawl route that ended at nothing, tempting patrols to investigate while the real pair lay off to the side. It could work brutally well. Return fire and searching eyes went to the lie, and the real team slipped out on a different bearing. It could also backfire fast. An enemy that learned the trick started sweeping wider, firing into every depression, and a decoy stopped being bait and became a map of your habits. Number 1. Observation and spotting optics. The most important shot was the one you never took. Snipers were expected to observe before they fired. Binoculars, prismatic compasses, range estimation methods, none of it was exotic, and much of it was standard issue. The expectation was simple: identify targets, confirm, then engage with discipline. In a featureless desert, that simple job turned into a technical problem. Glare washed detail into nothing. Mirage made men wobble at distance. So optics became the real weapon. Teams shaded lenses with improvised hoods, kept glass wrapped against grit, and used low silhouettes to scan without flashing reflected light. Spotters learned to read movement indirectly: dust puffs, the unnatural straightness of a track line, the pause that meant a man was listening. And they wrote it down. A few lines in a notebook could be more valuable than a rushed trigger pull. Here's the hard question. If your scope gave you a clean shot, but taking it risked exposing the entire raid, do you fire, or keep watching? When optics were used well, a team steered the raid around patrols and chose the moment of contact. Used badly, a single lens flash or overlong stare invited a rifle round straight back into the hide. Across all 7 tools, the pattern isn't ingenious gear. It's the gap between what an institution can standardize and what a body in heat and dust can actually do. Desert raids rewarded the unglamorous, dull colors, rough textures, quiet routines, and patient eyes. The men who lasted weren't always the best shots. They were the best at not being noticed. If you want World War II history without simplification or mythology, subscribe. More raids, more fieldcraft, and the uncomfortable trade-offs the manuals left out.